Yes,
How are you doing?
very good.
Very good. Well, nice to have you here. It's a big pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Let's start off with the cool stuff. So, what always fascinated me when I was speaking to you was, well, you got started with the coffee field in Jamaica,
Yes.
and you're building hotels there now. Like, so how did all of this happen?
Okay, well, as far as the hotels, we need to see scale things down a little bit. It's more some individual bungalows, but
Mhm.
as far as starting with the coffee fields, a lot of that actually it's yes from my family.
Yeah.
My family has been growing coffee in the Blue Mountain region in Jamaica
Mhm.
for generations, and so it's not so much from my achievements or my things individually. It's a lot from the family. But
Yeah.
what's interesting, or for me now, is that this summer I'll actually take over and plant some of my own. Actually, I want to call it GCMS coffee.
GCMS coffee. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as yes, the hotels, more bungalows, is that along the way over the years, from being in New York and a little back and forth,
Yeah.
actually have a house there and also my family. And
In New York?
well, in
Or
New York, but more in
Jamaica.
specifically in Jamaica,
Yeah.
and more to be more concrete in this Blue Mountain region.
Yeah.
The name of the village is called Content.
Which is now like the UNESCO World Heritage as well.
Yes, it's been a little bit of luck over the last year or so in the location, because this property was bought like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And back then, it was just a thing that my dad said, hey, take a look at this. So we have a view overlooking the Caribbean Sea and the city of Kingston. So, I mean, we're pretty up.
Yeah.
And then, yes, last year this region has been designated a World Heritage Site, which has changed a few things. And but along the way, I thought, hey, why don't so we have a lot of let's call it space room?
Yeah.
Why don't I just build a couple of let's say 3 or 4 bungalows for people for friends, but actually for the people who've taken the GCMS class.
Cool. So
It'd be a fun thing.
if I take the class, like there's a chance I can go to Jamaica, go to one of the bungalows.
That is the plan, definitely.
Cool.
Yes.
Very cool. And did coffee, did that influence you in trading? Is that like one of the reasons why you started trading, like hedging the family exposure, or what brought you to trading?
Well, actually, not with coffee. As far as what brought me to trading, it's more mundane. Okay, wanting to get a job to work, things like that.
When was that? Like,
yeah, sure. Well, actually, it started when I graduated from university in New York, and as far as my, let's call it my first experience in trading or capital markets in general. The first place actually was at Bank of New York.
Okay.
At an internship in actually 1 Wall Street. That was actually the address. Actually now,
That's cool.
Bank of New York has changed.
From Jamaica to 1 Wall Street.
Yeah, that's it's kind of a leap.
Yeah.
But actually, as far as getting into trading now, as I've also mentioned to students in class, it's not this summer job that you walk in and some student doing wild things. No, actually, I was involved in what they call back office at Bank of New York, and what we did there was more settlement.
Yeah,
so
selling the trades.
Yeah,
did you see the trades then?
Yeah, we saw it, but there was a lot of buying and selling going on. But
my
you don't
function, understand the reasoning.
I had nothing to do with that. I was basically adding interest rates and commission charges. That's what I dealt with. So that was like my first, let's call it, entry into capital markets. And then from there, went out of school. I ended up working also for Citi. Then I worked for this other big insurance company. I almost forgot their name, but for what's I guess relevant for here, and especially on this side of the Atlantic, a lot of it has been with Saxo Bank in Copenhagen.
So how did you move across the Atlantic? When did that happen? Why?
Sure. In 2003, I started with Saxo, and basically I had a job.
Yeah.
So that was a great thing. But I was also living here a little bit before that. So it was job and.
But what's the connection like? What brought you?
Oh, sure.
How did you decide to move to Copenhagen?
Decided to move to Copenhagen. Well, I shouldn't say one reason, but I would say one of the reasons. There was this woman.
Like always in life.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a part of it.
Did you meet her in New York or in Europe?
Well, actually, it was a little bit of both. Actually,
Okay,
the funny, well, maybe not the funny story, but the story and how I actually met this person. Actually, I met her parents. So that was kind of interesting.
Were they your clients, or like how did you meet the parents?
It was actually I was visiting Copenhagen at the time, right?
Yeah.
And actually I needed a place to stay.
Yeah.
And the person that I rented the apartment from, not that person, but her friend, she there was this big event going on, and so I met the person that I was renting from, her friend, and she said, "Wow, you're traveling alone. There is this event. Would you like to attend? And you know, by the way, my daughter will come. And, maybe you want to meet her." And first, I wasn't really all that interested, but I saw she showed the photo of this daughter. And I said, "You know what? I think I can make this."
Okay.
So
You made it happen.
yeah, I definitely made the meeting. I said, "Okay, I think I can make it." So that's where that came from.
Okay. And then you were like, okay, I
So
know,
then I returned
know
back to
trading.
yeah.
I know the girl. Now I gotta find something in
So
the
then
space.
I need to find a job.
In the space.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay. And then, what were your stations like? How did you, like, so from starting in the back office, what was your first more front end related job, like in trading?
Sure. I mean, the first actually front end related job was actually doing forex sales. So selling for Citi. So as far as again, it wasn't this direct thing into trading.
Yeah.
I was first doing that, and then.
Okay, so you got the whole surroundings, like back office selling, and then with was it then at Saxo Bank that you went into the actual trading related thing?
Yeah, I did actually that back in New York, but what was interesting is that a little bouncing around that actually followed me to Saxo, because again, at Saxo, my first position, what I was actually hired for, wasn't actually trading. I was, the title back then, they called it online sales. So that was actually my first position there, so I did that. That was for like about a year or so, and then I moved from there now. I moved it over to what they call account management and trading, and yes, and then from the story, several other things along the way.
Okay, and then you were responsible for training and education at Saxo Bank. So I'm wondering, like, what did you learn there? Who were your clients, and how did that help you with now moving towards creating such a course as you are offering now?
Sure. The little story about this running this education and training program at Saxo, that was actually by accident, because one of the things that while I was at Saxo, at that point anyway, I was actually a regional manager for North American markets and the Middle East. So in that capacity or that role, I had to hire people. So I hired a lot of people from different universities, graduates, and also people from in the business. And as it turns out, a lot of the, let's say, the practical hands-on skills, very, I would say, almost basic things, order types, dealing with clients, some of that was actually lacking. So from there, just really experimenting with my own team. I said, okay, well, these are the things we need to learn in order to play some trades. And actually, I just called it, trading rights. I gave them the name. And getting to
So
the end
before
of
you
this,
get these trading rights, you have to learn this and this and this before we allow you to trade inside of the company.
exactly. But again, this was actually just with the guys that worked on my team.
Was
And
that the team that also went with you to Jamaica, or is that like a different team? Like
some
got a picture here of your team at Saxo Bank. As well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, a lot of those guys actually went through it. Yes,
Okay,
a lot
okay.
of actually,
Nice.
most of them. I taught through the trading rights program, and then, but to, I guess, speeding up the story, little by little, word started to get out in the bank to other managers and said, "Hey, look, for example, on the Russian desk or other desks, they said, hey, I have 2 or 3 guys. Wayne, can you get them going?" And because we heard people are, you're teaching, and so I started to do it for them. And then little by little, after a while, it actually became formalized from this
Became
kind
like
of
a business inside of the business.
yes. So and then it went from, again, a little thing that I was just running with my guys, right?
Yeah.
Then it started getting out to other teams, and then it actually became formal. And then in the end, leading up to the GCMS, where Saxo now worked with, actually has a lot of partner banks.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the training for the staff of these partner banks, they said, hey, you're doing this thing here, why don't we start to go out? So then it went from now a hobby to formalized to getting global to doing it. The first place I did this for was actually in Trinidad and Tobago with a partner bank there.
Okay.
We trained people in Jamaica. I actually did it for the team in London, Alpha City Forex.
Okay.
So there, and so
Very
it was
cool. So from small in-house training to institutional education.
yeah. So and that was a leap, but initially it was totally just. I think I was just doing it for people that worked for me.
But that's how the best thing evolved, isn't it? Like by a serious demand in a certain situation, just try some things and then you see there's a demand and then it evolves from there.
Yeah.
Cool. And now you're offering a course at Tradimo with the diploma, and basically you've been teaching at a lot of top universities in Europe, and also like been traveling around the world teaching these courses. And I remember from my days when I was doing a master in finance and business management, academia still looked at trading very skeptically. Like they were just saying random walk theory prevails, and then you should just buy an ETF, hold it, and that's the rational thing to do. So how are your lectures perceived at university? How popular are they? What do the professors say? And so,
Well, good question and good news. Well, from the professors, let's say, I would call them the realistic ones, they are aware that from the things that they teach, again, very good things. I'm not a person that's against professors or beating up on professors, because they have a role and they do good things. Where there's there's a gap, it's between this theory and connecting to the hands-on. So the professors, and actually speaking one university in particular, University of Southern Denmark, I noticed that there was an exchange professor there who
these
actually,
are the guys who are always winning at the Nordic trading
they're also
competition.
winning the Nordic trading competition. Yes, a professor actually directed his students to attend the class because first of all, he also understood that in the program we don't knock professors or berate theory or anything like that. Absolutely not. We're simply just making the connection between theory and hands-on. And then as far as to
so somebody might like take a serious finance class, learn about asset management and so on a theoretical level, but then the professor says, okay, now you know all the theory, go see Wayne and he will teach you how it's done in a trading software, what the right instruments are for your purpose, and so on.
Yeah, and just to put it together, or another example, for example, University of Aarhus, also in Denmark, I had a student in our advanced class. We take on options, buying and selling them, and a lot of option students, they will take the Black-Scholes model, mathematics. Excuse me.
No problem.
the mathematical model and the formula they have, which is fantastic. But then you need to apply that in reality.
Yeah.
And in the classes, they're always like, oh, okay, now I see
Yeah.
when you do it, when you take on the Greeks
That's
with the
when the
delta
option
and
is
the gamma and
overpriced
the
or
theta.
underpriced.
So you see exactly, you see it in reality. So, and a lot of that now has led to the popularity of the classes. For example, this year, every class has been sold out, usually within a day. And
Yeah.
I think I might have mentioned it to you in an email earlier that we've experienced it first this year in Oslo, Norwegian Business School, where the class was pretty much sold out before we even had it announced the other day. That's the first for us, and it's the response is really overwhelming.
Yeah.
Everywhere here.
So what's the feedback? Like, what are people saying after taking the course?
Oh, I've learned something practical,
Yeah.
or I've been able to connect the dots from the theory, from what I'm learning in university. So again, it's a lot of connecting the dots, practical, or a lot of them. Oh, this is what my friends told me, because a lot of the class we don't advertise for the in-person classes. It's word of mouth, and so when we put the dates up, give it 24 hours. And we're finished.
Wow,
that's pretty much it, and it's been going on like that for some time.
That's impressive. And so you're saying you've been doing this for a while now. I think you mentioned you've been doing this for 7 years now.
Yes, exactly.
So you've got a large alumni club, and the access to that comes with the diploma. And so only the students that pass the course, pass the final exam, they can go on and attend that alumni club.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because the alumni group, it's a close group.
Some pictures here of here. Got the picture of some of the students with the diploma.
Yes.
And you say like, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say the alumni group now it's well now it's in the thousands.
Yeah.
And there've been so many good things about it in the group. We have first of all a lot of recruiters that are looking for students. Lots of jobs postings, and
so in that group.
In the group, a lot of information about jobs, and also of course articles, different things about Nordic trading competition. But one of the I guess interesting and also fun things about the course now, because we've been doing this for so many years, several of the students are now hiring other alumni because now they're promoted. For example, like the first group of students, they're probably been professionally out in the world now for 5 years. So now they're managers. They're no longer the new guy on the block or new woman on the block. And now they're hiring. Several have started their own funds. So it's quite a network, and it isn't specific, obviously, to any to school. It's the alumni group just about everywhere because, for example, if we teach a class in Oslo, in that group, maybe 15 of those students are exchange students from Russia, Lithuania, South America, China, Singapore. So we, in that group, as far as countries, there's probably 60, 70 countries that are probably represented there.
Wow, that's impressive. So you've got several thousand people in the alumni group from 70 countries, and they help each other get jobs now in the financial world. And I think once you mentioned to me that some people, they prefer to hire people who have the GCMS diploma.
Yes.
Like how did it get to that? I mean,
sure.
Is that just this mechanism of they know the program, then they know what to expect of people who have taken the diploma?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of it. Well, first, it's really on this this mantra, this thing that I'm almost religious about. Where the thing that I would like to be judged by my firm or this diploma, it's on the results of the students, because really that is just the metric for me. If you're in any sort of education, training, teaching, and where we're in a situation where banks, brokers, other places that actually look for students, it's the results that they know that you have the diploma no, you're not Warren Buffett, but you
Yeah.
have the basics of, okay, buying and selling, a difference between an order and a trade, understanding how to read a chart, and
Yeah.
having the base of which they can teach you even more.
Yeah.
And whether it's, for example, I also used to work there, for example, like Saxo Bank, where there's so many alumni that are there working. Nordea, we also collaborate with them. There are many places. There are places in Sweden, actually one place, they were called Vallejo Forts, where they, pretty much you needed to have that to work there.
You needed to have the diploma to work there.
Yeah, and we can name several places. Also, well, Tradimo is also hired as several of our students. So really the bottom line is it's been the driver has been the result of the people.
That's amazing. I mean, that's how every training program should evaluate their success. Of course, impressive. And you said some students, mentioned this like another time we spoke, some students have started their own funds as well, and you're serving as a strategic advisor on their board.
Yeah.
So if I take your course as a student, can I expect to also build a personal connection with you? Is that possible?
Definitely. I'm connected to many of the ex-students on LinkedIn, and in many ways, the personal connection that we have in those days in class is gone on for years. I've met up.
No, but I mean, like if I take the online course. Then
And that's also definitely possible in connecting. Obviously, like through the course, because you can always write to me, and then in any of the
so I get your email address as well, like for sending in the results,
of the
quiz, and then I can ask you questions as well and so on.
Definitely, and
career
from there,
advice.
Tapping into career advice. But another that's I would say a big plus, taking it online or in person, is that you'll be able to tap into to my network and my colleagues' network and the alumni network.
Okay.
And that's a global, because let's face it, a lot of things in finance, as far as whether it's a career or making deals, it's really your network. That is it. Unpleasant or pleasant as may be.
Well, it's still a very human factor in the trust. So
definitely.